Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week, I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect, not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. Parents are confused by the mixed messages they sometimes receive from their estranged adult children. For example, an estranged adult child may tell their parents it's okay to text them, but when the parents do text, they don't respond. So, is it really okay to keep texting, or have they changed their minds? As another example, an estranged adult child returns and attends a family gathering, and they seem to enjoy themselves in the company of their parents. There may even be an I love you when they say goodbye. But after that, they go silent again. So, are they reconciling, or are they not reconciling? I don't think most adult children are trying to confuse their parents, but mixed messages can be challenging. So, this episode is about how to handle mixed messages from estranged or non-estranged adult children. But before I get into that, I should mention episode 171, which is called Understanding Ambivalence. You might want to review that episode if you're getting mixed messages, because ambivalence is often where they come from. So check out episode 171 at reconnectionclub.com/171. To help illustrate a safe approach to mixed messages, let's consider an ordinary computer. Computers receive mixed messages all the time, but computers don't seem to mind that. They don't say, wait a minute, you were just searching for hotels in Atlanta. Now all of a sudden you're asking about Chicago? A computer is not innately curious about the input it receives, and it doesn't feel hurt or annoyed when the input changes from 1 minute to the next. To a computer, it's all just input. There's no emotion, no complaint, just acceptance of whatever request is made. Now, you and I, of course, are not computers. We have human qualities, including emotions. We can be confused and curious and concerned when messages seem contradictory. We can be frustrated on the receiving end of someone's flip-flopping. That's only natural for humans. We have minds that like to make sense of things. But if your adult child's mixed messages leave you feeling not just confused, but rejected, betrayed, abandoned, victimized, used, resentful, unlovable, or some other kind of deep emotional pain, I don't think that level of suffering comes from simple confusion. Instead, it might signal that some of your most basic emotional needs and expectations are not being met, and those needs and hopes deserve your loving attention. Now, there is nothing wrong with having needs and expectations in relationships. You deserve to be loved and cared about and appreciated, and we all have some expectations for the people in our lives to help us feel that way. But many adult children want those basic needs to be met for their parents by other relationships rather than by them. And some may not feel safe remaining consistently close until that's in place. If your adult child's mixed messages are not related to what I was just talking about, they might simply be a reflection of the untidy process of learning and growing. It took us, you and I, many years and a multitude of experiences to become the people we are today. Young or recently launched adult children may need to try on new beliefs, attitudes, ideologies. They might need to experiment with boundaries, or hairstyles, or hobbies, or even friendships. The list of changes they could make and things they could try is long. And so is the work of becoming the unique individuals they actually are. So, your child's mixed messages may reflect a changing, still consolidating inner landscape. But regardless of why they're happening, try to treat mixed messages from an estranged adult child the way a computer might which is to accept the most recent input without comment. It doesn't mean you have to comply with any request that comes your way, but it means you accept that this is what they're wanting now, as opposed to this morning or last week. Peaceful acceptance of their changing needs and desires can help create emotional safety for your adult child, making it more attractive for them to come closer more consistently. Now, if you're genuinely confused by mixed messages, here are some tips for you. As always, these are not rules to follow, but just suggestions to verify with your own intuition. Number 1, prioritize the message your child put directly to you, not what you heard through someone else. Number 2, if they said one thing in the past and they're saying the opposite now, remind yourself that pointing out inconsistencies may be received as criticism rather than a request for clarity. Number 3, if you absolutely do not know what to do in the face of a logical contradiction, then it may be okay to say something like, "I'm not sure what to do here. I'm confused." Like if your adult child says, "Mom, I want you to take my car to the car wash, but don't let it get wet." It's okay to ask for clarification about a request like that. If you do this, make sure your confusion is based on logic, not simply unexpected messages. And lastly, number 4, if you're getting mixed messages through behavior or statements rather than questions or requests, maybe you don't have to understand them. Just like a computer, you can simply receive it as current input. Both relational ambivalence and a still evolving sense of self can easily explain inconsistent and even contradictory messages. So in most cases, there's no need whatsoever to be afraid that something is wrong because the messages are so mixed. Your bland acceptance of mixed messages may help to put both of you more at ease in your relationship over time. So, in summary, unless your child is hallucinating or being indoctrinated into a cult, it's probably safe and good for your relationship to accept any inconsistencies in their mood, opinions, behavior, or level of contact. But make sure your need for consistent, positive emotional connection isn't going unmet in your life. That way, for as long as mixed messages continue, you'll be able to enjoy your child more when they're available, and feel more calm, fulfilled, and peaceful yourself in the times in between. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out reconnectionclub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at reconnectionclub.com.